This is the news leader, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Fire inside the Eyewitness News studios. No one was hurt, but the damage is heavy. I'm Lisa Calagrassi. That story coming up in a live report.
And because of very hard-working technicians, engineers, and stagehands, we managed to get on the air in just a few hours. This is Ken Rosado live outside the studios. We'll have the cleanup and back on the air story in just a moment.
Oh, yeah, and there's a lot to tell. Thank you, Ken. Good morning. I'm Lori Stokes.
And I'm Jeff Ross. And as you can see, we're here in the newsroom on the 4th floor. The studio's down on the 1st floor. And so that fire has knocked us off our usual perch.
That's all right, but it has not stopped us,
Nope.
that's for sure, from bringing you the day's news and also your Memorial Day forecast.
And so you're never more than 7 minutes away from weather. Thank you. And our top story this half hour, the reason we are up in the newsroom and not on our normal set, we're cleaning up this morning from a fire that turned our studio into just what you can describe as a smoky, sloppy mess.
That's right. Also, that fire even knocked us off the air for a couple of hours at 11 last night. And our coverage starts now with Lisa Calagrassi. Lisa's live in the studio. How's it feel there? How's it smell there? Not good, right?
It is really surreal, Lori, to be down here with all of this damage. I mean, a set that you use every single day that is really part of, you know, who we are. To see it this badly damaged is really a little bit difficult. Now, I'll tell you what, everyone was in place last night for the 11 o'clock news when suddenly they heard a loud noise, saw flames, and ran for safety.
Come on, bro, let's get out of here.
The fire broke out in Channel 7's main studio just before our 11 p.m. newscast. An electrical malfunction set fire to a large stage curtain.
We noticed a flame about 4 or 5 feet high. We alerted everybody that there was a fire, and within 30 seconds it had gone right up to the ceiling and started curving over the roof.
There was no question. Everyone had to get out right away.
And as soon as he said we got a fire going, all of a sudden it just went boom. And the whole thing, I just looked at the back of the set. It must have been 10, 15-foot flames that were just flying right up to the ceiling.
Firefighters moved in as the set burned and smoke filled the building. The evacuation went quickly, but as the last of the Eyewitness News staff made it to the street, it got ugly. Smoke in the lobby was thick enough to blind you and choke you. Firefighters went to oxygen as they headed in the door. They quickly vanished in the smoke.
Do not stay on the sidewalk in front of the glass. If they break it, you're done, man.
Columbus Avenue and the rest of the streets around the ABC complex were clogged with fire trucks, traffic, and bystanders. There was extensive damage to the station's new high-definition news set, but there were no injuries to any of the staff. As firefighters moved through the building after the fire, they found carbon monoxide levels dangerously high.
My last readings were over 400 parts per million.
What's the safe reading?
10.
But we have been given the all clear to be inside the building right now. You are looking at the news desk. It is intact. However, the backdrop is not. That New York City skyline that you see behind our set, that has been destroyed. Now, as we pan back here and show you some more damage, this is where the fire began, all the way here in the back. We believe an electrical box that then shot the flames up the wall, melting the insulation. You can also see the charred wires at the top. So this fire just moved straight up and over the set, so you can see how extensive the damage was. The crews are still working here. There's a lot of water on the floor, a lot of debris, all of this just charred mess. This is insulation, some wood, some desks and chairs down here, so it's going to be quite some time before the studio is usable again. Reporting live from the 1st floor studio, Lisa Calagrassi, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And Lisa, I guess the danger now is not just the damage that was done, but it's now the cables are waterlogged. Putting all these lights back on again could be dangerous, too. That's what the engineers need to look out for now.
Yeah, they're going to be taking their time and acting very cautiously as they do this cleanup, for sure.
And when you think about how long we had our broadcast from the old blue set, and we didn't have this high-definition one, and we finally got this set, and how, thrilled we all were to have this happen. But like you said, the good news is they were able to get out of the studio in time. No one was hurt, and now we deal with the cleanup.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm told the cameras work, by the way, I'm told. Believe it or not, with all the water damage and the smoke damage, those cameras, the new high-definition cameras that we just bought, still work.
It's been quite a force here of people cleaning up, from the regular maintenance people to the custodians. It's really been quite a team effort. So,
Lisa, thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. For all of us here, the most important thing, of course, is making sure that everyone was going to be okay.
And when we found out about that no one was hurt, it was time to get WABC back on the air. So how'd they do it so fast? Really just a couple of hours. Eyewitness News reporter Ken Rosado was outside our studios with more on that angle. Hi, Ken.
And Jeff and Lori, good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. And yes, you were talking about those hardworking people. Just to give you an idea, this is the front here of Channel 7 here along Columbus Avenue, 67th Street. You can see the glass kind of smoky from all the smoke and the fire that you saw a little bit earlier in that videotape. The big Channel 7 logo back there. Just beyond that is the studio on the other side of the wall. If you look over here, you see the dumpsters already filled up with all the charred wood that we have. This, of course, part of the rafters just above the studio where that fire broke out. The amazing thing is this all happened at 11 o'clock last night, but thank goodness because of the hardworking technicians, custodians, and engineers, just a couple hours later, we were back on the air. Viewers tuning in saw a black screen or color bars for roughly 2 hours last night. As workers evacuated the building, the main concern after the safety of all employees was getting the station back up and running.
We're working with our network right now and trying to link up our control rooms. And once we're able to link up our control rooms, we already have a place for our employees to work, and we already have a place for our talent to broadcast from. We're just trying to work out the engineering facilities, and then hopefully we'll be up and running soon.
Getting back on with the studio underwater and the newsroom filled with smoke was no easy task.
You go downstairs now to keep and get the air back on.
A lack of air conditioning to keep the equipment cool was a main concern. Engineers worked with Channel 7 management to make sure turning on any of the critical broadcast equipment would not cause further damage.
You're going to 3, go with him?
3.
You're going to 4, go with him.
Eyewitness News producers, writers, and editors were all allowed back in the building around 2 a.m., even though the smell of smoke hung in the air.
Hey, do you guys have anything up, like a West Coast feed, East Coast feed, anything we can take at the moment?
At that same time, engineers were able to patch through the West Coast feed so that programming returned to the airwaves. And so that we don't have to worry about having any more problems with all the wet equipment, take a look. We could always go this way. Here is the satellite truck parked right out front. And if we had to, we just plug the camera in and just start broadcasting, transmitting 22,500 miles up in the air and back down to our transmitters to get the signal out to you any way we can. It's from here, we're live on the Upper West Side, outside Channel 7's now smoky studios. Ken Rosado, Channel 7. Guys?
Nothing stops us, Ken. Nothing.
That's right.
Thank you very much. All right, in case you're wondering about the rest of the programming, it should not be affected, and everything should air as scheduled.